The answers into why this happened will take many months of hard work to uncover, but tonight, some early possible clues as we take an in-depth second look at the effects of weight and gravity.
Sitting on top of the world.
It happens so fast, so we slow it down to quarter speed for a second look. The biplane is inverted, upside down, and Wicker is positioned above as we see it, but below the lower left wing, putting more weight on that side. And when the plane suddenly rotates 90 degrees, that's the end that goes down and first makes contact with the ground.
And we spoke with Jane Wicker twice just yesterday, once on 2 News Today and a second time during Living Dayton. Natalie Tyndall continues our team coverage with the wing walker from Virginia and her amazing aerial acrobatics.
I hang underneath the airplane by my feet and we roll upside down while I'm doing that.
Jane Wicker called herself a risk taker and attempted some daring stunts in her 23-year-long career as a wing walker. 2 News had the chance to speak with her in one of the last interviews she did before her death.
I've just always been the kind of person that just gets bored easy, so I thought, like, go after one thing, go after another. I just got to kind of constantly get excited things in my life, and this was it.
She told our Dan Edwards and our Living Dayton crew she is one of the only female wing walkers in the country that uses no safety lines or parachutes during her acts.
Sometimes it's a little bumpier and a little harder than normal, but I prepare myself for it, and we just go out and do it.
Dan spoke with the pilot on Friday who died in the crash, discussing his tricky role.
I talked to Charlie about the pilot about how difficult it is to pilot that aircraft with Jane out on the edge of that wing, and he talked about how difficult it was to kind of keep that plane, maneuvered in the air. And they had special counterbalances on that plane. They had a fuel injection system to give it more horsepower, and they had done all the safety precautions that they could to make that plane safe. And
Wicker did tell us that she was planning on getting married to one of her team members. We found a website dedicated to the day called wingwalkwedding.com. It states she was planning to exchange those vows on the wings of an airplane next year. Natalie Tyndall, 2 News, working for you.
And according to Wicker's Facebook page, she has 2 sons.
And we look further into Jane Wicker's life for you tonight. Here's what we found. Her passion for flying has a long history. She first took flight in 1988, receiving her pilot's license a year later. In 1990, she answered an ad for a wing walking job where her aerobatic flying career began. Wicker took a break from wing walking in 2002, but soon returned to the skies in 2009.
And Wicker's pilot had nearly 40 years of experience and was a beloved member of the airshow community as well. Charlie Schwenker started flying sailplanes or gliders in 1975. He then began flying competition aerobatics in 1990, racking up a slew of international wins. According to his bio on wingwalk.org, aerobatics was his passion that he got to enjoy with Jane Wicker. And when he wasn't flying an airshow somewhere across the country, Charlie could be found at a flying circus in Virginia most summer Sundays.
And no doubt, the thousands of people who witnessed the deadly crash this afternoon are likely finding it very difficult to get those images out of their minds tonight.
Spectators went for a day of family fun. They never imagined it would end like this. In our continuing team coverage, we take you to the emotional scene.
Watch this, Jane Wicker, sitting on top of the world.
It was where everyone was looking, at the sky, as experienced wing walker Jane Wicker and her veteran pilot Charlie Schwenker were doing what they do best, wowing the crowd with her daring stunts. Then the crowd's amazement turned to horror as the plane crashed to the ground and burst into flames. 2 News cameras were rolling as the wreckage burned less than 100 yards from spectators. No bystanders were hurt, but Wicker and Schwenker were killed.
We had units on the ground pretty quick. With the fire department responded, as you would expect, pretty quickly to the scene. It's my understanding that there was nothing they could do for the victims of the crash once they arrived there.
Organizers canceled the airshow for the rest of the day, and spectators left in shock of what they had just witnessed.
All we seen was the plane rolled over and hit the ground. They were too close to the ground. There was no way they'd make that turn. Just flipped straight over and hit the ground.
People comforted one another with hugs as a day of fun turned into heartbreak. Wicker and Schwenker lived to entertain and lost their lives doing what they loved.
It's terrible.
The aircraft.
I've never seen it happen before. We never expect to see something like that happen, and it's awful. And it just terrifies you.
I don't know what to think right now. You can't even describe it. You can't explain it.
And this was Wicker's first appearance at the Vectron Dayton Air Show.
Still to come here on 2 News tonight, our Pam Elliott takes your questions to officials as the investigation now gets underway in earnest. Next,